Welcome to the third and final video of Excel Project 9. This should be a fairly short video. We're going to be talking about the if function. And if statements are something that you've learned in elementary school whenever you were in math class. An example of that is if a decimal is less than 5, we round down. That's the rule of rounding. So if it's less than 5, we round down. If it's 5 or greater, we round up. So that's an if statement. In the textbook, you are told that the Historical Society is going to donate 10% if they have more than $500 in their surplus account. Otherwise, they plan on donating just $50. So now that you are going through the textbook and you're working on this Excel document, we need to figure out if they have that $500 or not. So we need to be able to tell Excel to perform an if statement. There are 3 parts to an if statement: the logical test, the action to take if the test is true, and then the action to take if the test is false. So in the example of rounding, the logical test is whether or not the number is less than 5. The action to take if the test is true is to round down. So logical test, if the decimal is less than 5, round down. And then the action to take if the test is false is obviously to round up. This is the formula that you are going to be using in your document. So if you're looking at it, it says if, okay, this is our if statement. If I-25 is greater than 50, this is our logical test right here. And then we use a comma to say then I-25 times 0.10, which stands for 10%. So this section right here is the action to take if the test is true. And then we use another comma to separate the false statement. So if that statement is false, then simply use the number 50. So that's the logical test. So let's take a look at an Excel document, and let's say that this number right here is the surplus that the Historical Society has. So in the cell adjacent to it, I'm going to start my if statement. As you learned in the beginning of this chapter, in order to start a formula, we have to use the equal sign. So I'm going to type equals if cell F22, I gotta use my parentheses. Don't forget your parentheses. If cell F22 is greater than 500, and then I'm going to use my comma, and you'll see right up here under the formula bar, it's actually going to pop up and it's going to start helping you fill in your formula, giving you some ideas of what you're supposed to be doing. So if F22 is greater than 500, I'm going to use a comma. So, and then it tells me right here the value if it's true. So if it's greater than 500, I am going to take F22 times 0.10. Okay, so I actually clicked on the F22 in order to get that to show up. And then I'm going to use my comma again, and it's going to tell me the value if that statement is false. So if F22 is not greater than 500, then what should I do? And I'm going to put 50, telling the computer that we're going to donate just a simple flat $50. So now when I hit enter, you can see that it's actually put the number 50 in here because obviously $329.24 is less than $50. What's nice about this is you can, because we've used the cell references whenever we've been creating our formulas, we haven't just been typing in the numbers in our formulas. Now we can do some analysis. So what would happen if this line item cost us less? Right now it says $2,754.63. But what happens if I mistyped that, and really the cost should have been $754 $5,531.63. What happens then? Well, that has decreased the sale expense per head, and that $50 remains. What if instead this $754.63 was actually $562.52? Whoop, that didn't work. $5,662.36. Okay, you can see my number's gotten a little higher. I'm going to keep playing with this. Let's say it was 7,000. Let's make that 8,000. Can't quite get over that $500 threshold. There we go. Okay, so I've hit over $500, so it's $539.05. And so my if statement has changed, and it now says that I'm going to donate $53.91 after I take care of all those extra decimals. So by using those cell references, you can see that it allows you to go in and see how things would change if you change some of the items in your document, which is what you're going to be doing in the last step of this project. You're going to take a look. What would happen if we changed the price of the candy? What would happen if we did this or did that? Would that increase or decrease the amount that we would be donating? So at this point, that is the end of Excel Project 9, Video 3. You are ready to finish up the textbook. So at this point, you should be ready to work on pages 225 through 228. You're going to be entering in an if statement and then doing some analysis. And once you're done with those pages, you have completed the textbook activities. So once you have the textbook activities done, you need to make sure that you have turned in your study guides for all 3 videos, as well as the textbook, your final textbook document. If you did your study guides on an actual piece of paper, you still need to click on Turn In, and when you get to the comment box, you're going to type the comment that you did the study guide on paper. That tells me that when I'm grading, I need to actually come to you in class and say, can I see your study guides? And you'd be able to show those to me and get credit for your study guides. Don't forget that if you have any questions, you can send me an email. You can send me a direct post on Edmodo, or if you're doing these at home, you can always ask me while we're in class for some additional clarification or for some additional help.